Hello, hello, hello. Dacia Signs here at Adobe Live with Olivia and Zach Fields, day 2. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Yay!
So excited to see you guys again.
Likewise.
What is going on? We had a lot of fun yesterday. Let me turn down some audio here, having some difficulties. We had a lot of fun yesterday learning how to edit and create cinematic video content for social. You guys have a really distinguished look, a very brand. I mean, like,
Thank you.
Have it tight. You have it locked in, and you've been sharing your secrets with us. And today we've got some more. Yesterday we spent a bunch of time in Premiere. If you missed that, you can always go back to behance.net/Adobe Live and catch up on all the awesome tips that we got. I'm Dacia Signs. I'm a quality engineer on motion graphics templates team at Adobe, and I'd like to introduce Olivia and Zach. Tell us a little bit about who you guys are for those of us who maybe are just joining today.
Yes, hello, welcome if you are just joining. If not, then sorry, you have to listen to us introduce ourselves again. But my name is Olivia, and this is my husband, Zach. He got the office today, so I'm streaming from the guest bedroom. We live just outside of Portland, Oregon, and it is a rare blue sky and sunny day today. So yippee for us. And I am a full-time photographer and content creator, social media influencer, whatever you want to call it. But I do that full-time. And Zach has a normal job in which he does
all sorts of
things.
Yes.
And he also has become my video editor, my unofficial CFO, my everything elser. So he
a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Motion
he's got
designer.
Yeah, he's got a lot under his belt, but it's been great having him help me with my video stuff since I am more of a photo gal. But I have become a little bit proficient in Adobe Premiere Rush because it's like on the phone, it's kind of like quick, easy for social media. So that's definitely more of like my area of expertise. And then Zach is more of the Premiere Pro guy. So
But
today,
I do just want to call out, you've been, for those of a lot of new users out there, things can feel pretty intimidating. You have been on your journey to learn Premiere this year, and it looks like you're doing pretty awesome too. So,
well, thank you.
I want to tip my hat off to you for that.
Thank you.
Your users too. Zach, I didn't realize you had a job in addition. I thought this was your job.
Yes. No, I do a lot of
sleep?
I honestly really don't. But yeah, I do. I work for my family's business, so I help them out with IT stuff and all of the finance, billings, all of that boring computer work that no one else wants to do.
And
That's
he's
awesome.
training to be a pilot, so we're just adding on
Lots of things.
Here.
I love it. Pretty soon you'll be doing your taxes while flying the plane.
Exactly.
Destination for the next video shoot. I can't wait.
There you go.
Cool. We just want to shout out a couple people in the chat. Looks like we've got Voodoo Val back, who I always like to see. I feel like she's been from the first Adobe Live I ever hosted a couple years ago, and I see your name, and I'm like, hi. I feel better now. I'm not as nervous. Paloma, Felix. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, we're going to keep an eye on the chat. And but let's just jump in. Looks like we're in Adobe Rush on an iPhone at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think
Cool.
We do have a little promo too that we want to show you guys, just to give you a little teaser of what we are making today. So if we could roll that, and then we'll jump in, we'll start in Rush, and then we'll go into Premiere after.
Feels like Christmas when we're all in one place. It feels like Christmas, these memories we make. And all the world is wonderful, it's on display to see. It feels like Christmas. It feels like Christmas to me. Days are filled with wonder, this time with one another. We only get this once a year, and now it's here, yeah. It feels like Christmas when we're all in one place. It feels like Christmas, these memories we make. And all the world is wonderful, it's on display to see. Feels like Christmas. Oh yeah. Feels like Christmas when we're all in one place. It feels like Christmas, these memories we make. And all the world is wonderful, it's on display to see. It feels like Christmas. Oh yeah. It feels like Christmas to me.
Cool.
Yes, so welcome to my iPhone. Thanks for watching that little video. Just like a little premise, since you only saw a sneak peek, is we made a bunch of little like DIY Christmas decoration videos that I posted on Instagram Reels. And we decided to take those and incorporate them into like a longer YouTube video. So I'm going to be showing you guys kind of how I use Adobe Rush to create those short form vertical videos. And then we will jump over to Zach, and he'll be showing how you can take an Adobe Rush file, pop it into Premiere, and then he does his magic from there. So let's open Rush and get started. So this is the inside of my Rush project portfolio. You can see all the little Instagram videos I've made on here, but I'm just going to be going with this top one today. This is the most recent one I made. Literally made it last night. And then Zach made the video you just watched also last night at like 11 p.m. So way to go us for being really prepared and not doing things last minute.
It always works out better when it's last minute. You know, you
Right.
hone in the idea.
It's fresher in our mind too, so we remember exactly what we did.
Yes. So I already have some media imported in here. And what I love about Rush is that you can do everything with your fingers. So it's so easy to just kind of like scroll in and out on the timeline there just to make it as big or as small as you need. And a few other things that I've already done that I'll kind of walk you guys through to show you how to do them as well is, so for these videos in particular, I just filmed them on my iPhone. So they have audio, but I don't necessarily want the audio to be playing because I'm going to add music in. And so if you want to remove audio, it's super easy. If you just like long press on the clip, you can click expand audio. And from there, then you can see all of your different audio files, or you can also double click on, let me get the audio, double click on the audio, and you can just easily mute clip on or off. You can change the clip volume right here. And you can also do auto volume, but since we're not going to be using the volume from here, I'm just going to keep it muted. And when it comes to actually adding like different files, it's super easy to like switch things around, move them around however you want, which is great. And for this video in particular, this is like a little Christmas video of us making like some homemade garland for our house. So going to be putting in a Christmassy song. So first thing I have to shout out is Adobe Rush has a very extensive audio library. So if you go into this little plus button over here on the left side and click audio, you can look through these soundtracks, sound effects, and loops. There are tons and tons and tons and tons that you can scroll through. I'm not going to be using one today, but I do use them. Today, I'm just going to be using a very like classic Christmas song, Jingle Bells. It wasn't in the audio library. If it was, I definitely would have used it. But
And this
what
is
I
something-
did...
Oh, sorry to
No,
interrupt.
go for it.
I just totally want to call out that this is something that is also in Premiere as well in the Essential Sound panel. So Adobe Stock Audio is something that you could easily access in your project without having to leave when you need it. So that's super cool.
Definitely. So for myself, I just downloaded an audio track from MusicBed, which is just like an audio licensing subscription service that I'm a part of. And I airdropped the file to my phone, saved it in my Files app. And from there, I can actually import it straight into Rush, which is super cool. So again, I'm going to go and click the little plus button here. And instead of audio, I'm going to click media this time. And then it's going to pull up all these different options. I can pull from my camera roll, videos, photos, even Creative Cloud, which is awesome. I saved it to my files. So import from files, the song is right here. And just like that, it's added. Like that was like a second and a half. That's
So
crazy.
easy.
Yeah, that goes
Easy peasy.
super, super quickly. I'm gonna,
And you're just on your iPhone. You're just ticky
yeah,
like this.
I'm literally just sitting here on my iPhone. People probably think I'm texting, but no, I'm making a video. Which is super awesome. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring this clip volume down because I know that it's probably going to be a little loud for you guys and don't want to hurt your eardrums. So let me play this and we'll see how this is sounding so far.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Okay, I think it sounds pretty good so far. And first thing you can notice in this video, this clip is very boring. It is literally us measuring how long we want the garland to be. We just like set the phone up on a tripod to shoot this, and it's pretty boring. So our intention was to speed it up. And I actually just learned how to do that in Adobe Rush. So let's say you didn't create like an actual time-lapse video, but you want your video to be sped up like a time-lapse. There's actually a little speed section right here in the middle. And it's at 100 right now. So let me double click on it. And then where are we? Oops. We have the need for speed. Okay, so right here you can see it's at 100% range speed down on the bottom. And I'm just gonna like drag it. I don't even know how long. Let's see. 500%. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, it's faster. Okay, so it was a little bit faster, but I think I want it to be like even faster. So let's see. I'll drag it back over here. Oh my goodness. I just crunched my whole feed. Speed. I'm going to just bring it all the way up to 1,000 and see how that looks now.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle.
Okay, that was way faster. I think I like that. I'm just going to keep it all the way at 1,000. But just so you guys know, if you are wanting to speed up a video, that is how you do it. So
Easy peasy.
Yeah, so
Easy peasy.
easy. I feel like it's
You did it
easy.
so fast and so easy. I disappeared. I came back and it was already done. I mean, traveling is happening all around here.
Yes, it is great. And so a few other things that I can call out that I love to do with Rush. Of course, when I'm editing to music, I like to edit like to the beat of a song. And it's so like incredibly easy to cut clips in Rush. So I'm going to play from the beginning and then I'm just going to stop when I think a clip needs to be cut. And I'll show you guys how I do that. So let's move this here. Again, I'm just moving this around like with my thumb. Super easy. We're measuring.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride and
Okay, so that clip was a little long. There's two ways you can go about this. So let's say I want to cut it around right here. I'm just moving around the timeline, finding my spot. I can scroll over here to the right and click these little scissors. It's cut, click delete, done, it's gone. Or let me undo that. You can like long press on the clip and then drag it over as well. So, I mean, it really doesn't get any easier than that.
I mean, especially when you're just, we can spend as editors, we can spend hours and hours and days, weeks and weeks agonizing over the smallest, frame, shot, do it this order, that order. And sometimes like that's not what you need, especially in a fast-paced world of social media content creation, right? Like you need to be able to stay in touch with your people and get content out there quickly. It's like, make it simple. Keep it simple, smarty pants. That's what
Absolutely.
And this is so cool. I mean, it's just on your iPhone. You can also, you guys talked about yesterday, shooting on your iPhone was something that, it's like you don't need a huge fancy camera either to do some really killer content, right?
No,
Yeah.
and another really cool thing that you can do in Rush is you can actually shoot your video content within Rush instead of shooting like just via your camera app on your iPhone. And this way you can change things like the white balance, the exposure, etc. I wonder if I can actually pull it up.
Yeah,
right now.
I learned that yesterday.
Be looking at my computer screen, but I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay, here's my computer screen right now. But as you guys can see, we've got exposure, we've got white balance. If it's not on auto, I can shift the white balance, which is kind of crazy. You can do all of this in Rush. We'll go back to auto because that wasn't looking good.
And you've got frame rate too.
Yeah, you've got the autofocus.
Slow-mo, you could do that.
Can zoom in, out. You guys can see the dust on this nightstand.
Whoa. Shot on iPhone 12.
Yeah, and you can choose resolution from 4K all the way down to 480. I hope you're not picking 480, but I mean, if that's what you want.
Maybe you got some fun gift to make or something. I don't know.
Maybe, but that's just kind of a little behind the scenes of what you can do with Rush. But for this video, I just shot everything on my iPhone. So I'm going to show you guys just how I import a video. It's, again, super easy. Little plus, media, not in files this time. We're going to videos. I'm just going to click a video from this little DIY garland shoot. And like that, it's in there just like that. Like the other clips, I want to mute the clip. So I just double tap on the audio down there, mute clip, and we're done. And again, it's super easy to just drag to see, how much you.
And I love the numbers because it's sort of a way to just get that first sculpting done in an edit, your first pass, like we were talking about yesterday, Olivia, you and I love to just put the clips on the timeline and just start hacking away at it. And I like in Rush, you just basically choose sequentially what you want, and then they just end up on the timeline in that order. So you can just start trimming away or cutting, as it were. But
Yes,
they make it so easy. It's so fun.
It's so easy. Okay,
I
so
said
a few more
they.
things.
I should say me.
They, those people.
I don't work on the Rush team, so it feels like they.
You're like, plot
but
twist.
I mean,
I created it.
the cool thing about Rush, though, that really excited me when I first learned about it, I think it's really important to be able to start a project and kind of rough draft something on your phone or iPad, which is not something you could do before with working with large video files. And, something like iMovie, for instance, is something you can use on your phone. But if you want to do more complex things to that piece later, you can't bring that project into a tool like Final Cut that has more tools. And that's what makes Rush, I think, really stand out and different and awesome, is that you can start in Rush. And if there's something that you need to do that's more advanced, you can always bring that into Premiere, which I think is what we're going to be doing today too. So
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I just found out all about that feature last night, which was very cool.
Yes, I found out about it like a week ago, because I was working on a project with the Adobe Rush team, and they were like, hey, can you send us your source file? And I was like, how could I possibly do that? And they were like, just put it in Premiere. And I was like, how do I do that? And then I figured it out. It was so easy. It took less than a minute. But anyway, back to Rush.
Rush.
Once I have my clips all cut, as you can see them here, the next thing that I typically like to do, and this is another one of those things that Rush is really good at because a lot of other video editors don't let you do it, is color your videos. I mean, they're iPhone clips, they don't need to be colored, but you guys, if you know me, I just love having everything be cohesive across my entire brand. So I want my iPhone videos to look like my YouTube videos, to look like my photography, and I just like it to be all encompassing, and I love that Rush allows me to do that. So I'm going to show you guys how I color videos on Rush, and it's so simple. Your minds are going to be blown.
Awesome. All right, cool. Hey, real quick, guys, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in about 30 seconds. Put a pin in that, Olivia. I can't wait.
Okay.
We'll just leave it. We're building a mystery here. We'll be back. Guess who's back?
We're back.
We're back.
Back
We are
again.
We're back to oh my God, I almost cursed. Oh my God. I did not mean to say that. I'm sorry, Paco. Nothing happened. Sorry. I got that Eminem song in my head, and I got so excited because I love that I go to your Instagram and everything looks like it's coming from a singular source. Like,
Wow.
I can't achieve that. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. Like, my stuff looks so random, so curated and beautiful. And I think what I'm learning here is that your trick is how you color everything. And so how do you bring in those amazing colors? How do you keep it consistent across all your different formats?
That is a great question. And that's something I touched on a little bit yesterday. I think that for any business owner, entrepreneur, photographer, videographer, anything, having a distinguished look, something that you can be recognized for, is so important. And it just really helps you also as a creator be like, is this like aligned with like what I like to share? Like, is this me? Like, does this have my stamp on it? And so I think that doing something even as tedious as like making sure everything you create is like colored similarly, it can go a long way. So here's how I color, just quick color in Adobe Rush. So you can see down here, there is a little color tab. It's right next to the speed and the effects. And it'll pull up these built-in presets that Rush has. Cinematic, film, Kodak. Like there's some, these are good if you want to have like a base layer to work with, even have black and white, which is super cool. But if you guys know me, you know, I like to build everything myself, you know, keep it looking consistent. So there's also a little tab over here called Your Presets. I have 2 presets, Film, Fall, and Warm Tones. Those aren't the most Alivia sounding presets, and I don't know what is, but I'm going to build one from scratch with you guys so you can see. So over here, you can scroll and there's a few different things that you can go through, and just going through these and making little adjustments, I think really can like change how your video looks. So we'll start with exposure. This one could probably use like a tad bit of exposure to brighten it up a little bit. We'll go into contrast, give it a little bit of that. And I'm literally just using this slider like with my thumb, just going back and forth.
I
Highlights.
just love this UI.
Mhm.
It's so clean and modern and beautiful.
And
Ooh,
so
living for it.
easy.
Yes.
Highlights down, shadows, we'll bring those down a little bit as well. And then the temperature, where all the fun part comes in for me. I like to have everything be nice and warm. So I'm just gonna bring that warmth up a little bit. And then on the tint, it's looking a little green. So I'll slide it
Yeah,
ever so
what's the
slightly.
trick? I feel like every time I try to make something too warm, everything ends up either really red or orange.
Mhm.
I can never get it to look like.
It's definitely a fine
what's the trick?
balance between the temperature and the tint. It's kind of, you have
Okay.
to go back and forth. It's looking a little green, you got to slide it to the pink side. Then if it's looking a little too purple, you got to go back to the temperature and make it a little warmer so it's not super blue. So
And you
there's
don't like
definitely-
greens, from what I learned yesterday.
there's just like a type of green to me. Like imagine like freshly cut grass, and it's just like, it looks pretty to your eye, but then on camera it's like lime green and it just
Doesn't work.
doesn't flow. No, it's not the vibe. But since this is a Christmas video, this is some garland, I will allow for the evergreen. Only this once. And so a few other tools that we can go through on this is the vibrance. I like things to be a little more on the like subtle side. So I'm going to take my vibrance down to just like 10. And then I'll do the same with my saturation just to keep it subtle. Give it that kind of nostalgic look. And then this feature is probably one of my favorites. And I think it's so cool that Rush has this, because this is something I would typically do manually with tone curves, whether that's in like Premiere Pro or in Lightroom, but they actually have a faded film feature. So I don't even have to go through all those tone curves and S curves. I can just slide this up and look at that fade. Ooh, it's subtle.
Vintage.
Yeah, exactly. So I get that up a little bit, and then sharpening, of course, want to have a nice crisp video. I'll just pop that up to 10. And then they have 2 vignettes as well. I'm not really going to use those. And now that I've done this, I feel like I want it to be like a little bit warmer, and I want a little bit more contrast. So that like faded,
Because the faded
look.
film like
Yeah.
washed it out a little bit, so you want to come back and tweak and add a little more color.
Yes. I want to make the like dark seem a little bit darker so that they look a little more faded, if that makes sense. So I went contrast up, and then I'm going to bring the shadows down a little bit. And then we'll scroll all the way over here to the right. And there is these 3 buttons. They say options, and then you can click create preset. What shall we call this preset? We'll call it like vintage Christmas. Okay, I like it.
There you go. Very on brand.
Thank you. So now that we've got our vintage Christmas preset, it's already on this clip because we made it on this clip. I can just scroll over to any clip, click color, go over here, your presets, vintage Christmas, just like that, which is so cool. This is also my
And
film fall. my
You will have
warranty.
this available to use in any project that you use
Yes.
after this.
Any project, it's saved, it's there. It's literally too easy.
That is really cool. Does
And you
it
can-
travel with the project?
Yes, it does, which is really cool.
Wow.
So I imported this into Premiere Pro. What you said, it showed up as Lumetri, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think this is Lumetri under the hood.
it
looks
is. And something that's cool is, so if I go into this clip here and I'm coloring it, I want it to have our vintage Christmas. And maybe if I don't like something in particular about it, I can go and change, let's say, the highlights, and it only changes it on this clip and it doesn't affect the actual preset at all. So unless I'm going and clicking save preset again, it's just, I can put like the same preset on everything and then go in and adjust each clip as needed.
Oh, that's awesome. Which you'll need to do because just naturally some shots are brighter or lighter than others. So it won't look.
Yeah, like this is an
Out.
inside clip. We'll see how the inside clip looks with this. It's looking like a little too much like contrast for me. Bring those
Okay.
highlights down, bring the temperature down a little bit, bring the shadows back up. So you gotta go through the motions.
But what are you looking for? So it's like when you're fine tuning, what is it? Is it a feel that you're trying to achieve? Like, how do you know? You have a great instinct for it, but what is sort of your guiding? Is it just simply visual that you're looking for? Are you looking at whites? Are you looking at shadows? Is there like, or is it just that this feels right? Is it more
Yeah, I would
esoteric?
say mostly it's for me making sure that everything looks cohesive together. But then to achieve that, I'm looking at like the shadows and the highlights mainly. That's like how I feel like you can really define a
Okay.
look is with your shadows and your highlights, and just obviously like tone curves as well when it gets into more like advanced editing applications. But for something simple like this, I'm like, if I just make it a little bit warm, put that faded film on it, like it already is starting to like embody that
Your
that
look.
look of mine. Yeah. So that's a little blurb as to how to color things and create your own presets in Rush, which I think is like one of the best. That's just like one of the best features to me, is like you can film something on your iPhone and then like just pop it in here and give it that look, which is awesome.
I mean, it's a whole studio. You can film it, edit it, and distribute it all from the palm of your hand. That's
Wild.
it's really
Yes.
wild. It's really wild.
And if it's anything like the Lightroom mobile app, I'm sure new features are going to keep getting added and they'll literally replace a computer. Because I know, especially for Olivia, she uses Lightroom mobile all the time and it's almost the same as desktop
Yeah,
at this point.
every
which
day.
is just unbelievable.
Really, you're not you basically are just living in Lightroom Mobile and that.
Yeah, like I use Lightroom also probably every day, but I feel like I'm in Lightroom mobile like multiple times a day.
You can get the bulk of your work done there.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like if I don't have a ton of time on my like desktop to like actually like go through and edit something, and I know it's going to be for social, I'll just like sync it, pick up and go, get on Lightroom mobile and like finish the edit on my phone and be able to like save it from there, which is super helpful.
That's awesome. It feels relaxing too. It feels like I just imagine like being on the couch and like
Yeah.
just doing some last minute tweaks and things. It's like you don't have to be hunched over at your computer all the time anymore, and it's true, we are adding features all the time. One of the things that has changed this year for DVA apps, like all the video apps, is that we're releasing mostly every month. So not only is that to make sure that there's a lot of great bug fixes coming in, but also we're adding new features that are highly requested. So pan and zoom has been one of the biggest requests for Rush, and not just hit. And then just for those of you out there, if you didn't know about the beta program, if you go to the Creative Cloud desktop app, there's a whole section on beta apps, and you basically get a chance to preview all the features before we release them publicly, give your opinions on them, give some feedback, and test them out. So if you're into that kind of thing, I highly encourage some exploration there.
That is very cool. No, go for
Olivia
it.
and I got to do that a little bit before Adobe Max, got to test out some of the features, and it was a very fun time. So yes, definitely would recommend that.
Yeah, because then by the time it comes out, like you're ahead of the game, like you already know how to do everything.
Exactly.
And then you end up here getting to share with people what you know. So one more thing I want to show you guys in Rush before I hand it over to Zach and let him take it away is a very cool feature called auto reframe, which came in perfectly for this clip. I like undid it so I could show you guys. So here's the gist of it. Everything I shot for this video was like vertically on my iPhone. And then I realized when I was editing, I was kind of missing one piece. And Zach happened to have filmed something that I needed, but on the camera horizontally. So I had him just send me that horizontal clip. I put it in, and this is it right here. If I click on this and, all right, why isn't it? So you can see it's a horizontal clip, because right now, if it was going to be scaled all the way out, it's only a square. So that's obviously not gonna work. So something that's really cool, if you watch this, actually, you can see, let me actually bring this back to Phil. So if we watch this clip, you could see me at the beginning, and now it's just looking at the wall. So because it's a horizontal clip, and in the horizontal version, yeah, you know, you could see me in the whole frame, but now that it's been cropped to vertical, you can't really track with me at all. And I'm like, I'm there and then I'm gone. So something that's really, really cool is in the effects panel tab, whatever you want to call it. You can click this and there's transitions, and then there's motion. So if I go over here to motion and click auto reframe, it's analyzing, it's auto reframing everything for me. So now when we
Such a
go
cool feature.
back and watch this, there I am. And now we can still see me. We can see the garland. Look at that.
Wild.
Like I didn't even have to do anything except for click a button. Like the first frame, the focus was a wall. The second frame, the focus is me. And that's so cool.
As it should be.
That's just so cool that it knew how to do that. Like it knew how to like find the focal point. It's the girl carrying the garland, and just like
machine learning is so wild. It's like
it's getting
magic.
so good.
It's so good. And what I do also love about auto reframe is that it happens like magic, but then when you do bring it into Premiere, it actually is just putting keyframes down in your effects. So you can even go in and tweak edits because you know sometimes computers aren't gonna get everything. Or you have your own thing that you want to do. And so it's cool that it's like magic, but it's not in a black box that you can't like see, and it's not, you know, there's a way to go in and tweak and make your own customizations too. So I mean, it's one of the best features I think that has happened in the last like 10 years. Okay, 5 years.
That was really, it's just very impressive to me. This was my first time really using it, like where I really needed it. Like I'm not on the frame, and it worked perfectly. And I just think that is so impressive. And that pretty much concludes my little Rush tutorial. It's super easy to save a project. I guess I should show you guys how I do that as well. You just come up here to the little save share looking button, and you can go down here. You can do an automatic export, or you can choose, I always choose 4K match frame rate if that option is available. Click export, and it says, you know, don't close Rush, lock your device. It takes like 1 minute to export a 4K
Wow,
video.
That's
Like
crazy.
you guys can tell it's
that's really
already
wild.
exporting pretty quickly. And once it's done, like you're good. And there's so much more you can add that I didn't go into. There's transitions, there's graphics, there's titles, like there's so much. But that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And now we'll show you how Zach takes that project file and puts it into our like longer form YouTube videos and uses After Effects to make the videos stay vertical but still work
Yes.
horizontal. Saved. We're
Amazing.
done.
That's wild. So yeah, if you're joining us, we're here with Alivia and Zach Fields, who create amazing, beautiful content. They're intentional travelers. They're also working on building a house right now. So I'm super excited to follow them on that journey and adventure. And we just got through learning about Rush. Olivia just made a beautiful little Christmas holiday spirited video that was shot last night, edited today live. And now we're kicking it over to Zach to add some more sweet graphics and things to create that branded look that so people know it's like your thumbprint. It's your content, right? Yeah, take it away, Zach.
All right, so we are here in Premiere Pro, and we're gonna open actually Olivia's Rush file right now. She actually made 3 different reels. We just showed you one of them. So I'm gonna go ahead over here where it says Open Premiere Rush Project, and it'll, as you can see, show us all of these little reels. So I'm gonna start with the first one that we did, and it's this stick Christmas tree. So I'll just go ahead and click it, and it'll open the project for me, and then we'll be able to import it into our main timeline, which is very cool.
Yeah, and as you guys can see, literally the one that I was just editing was already synced up and was showing up right there, which is super cool.
Yes, it is very, very fun. So as you can see, it looks like a normal Premiere Pro timeline. Let me just change the audio setting really quick because we don't want to hear it scrubbing. So as you can see, all the videos came through in the order Olivia cut them in. And just a little note here with the Lumetri plugin, like we said, Olivia was coloring the video in Premiere Rush, and now it shows up in Premiere Pro in my Lumetri color panel. You can see her temperature adjustments, tint adjustments, all of that came through, which is super cool. And now it looks like just a regular Premiere project for me to work in. Cool. So we've got this project. I'm actually going to start a new project to, piece everything together in. So I'm going to do new project, and we'll just call this AF holiday decorations, just like we did yesterday.
We covered the importance of keeping your files named well, keeping things organized. You will thank your past self.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to create it. Again, just a brief overview. I keep all of my projects named with AF if they're for Olivia's social. So I start that way everything sorts together. Christmas decorating, holiday decorating, that's what we're working on today. So I'm going to save my file there. Everything else looks good, and we'll do okay. So now we've got our new project, and I'm going to go ahead and import some footage. So let's pull that up over here. And then we will also bring in all of that Rush footage. It's super easy. So like I said, keep everything super organized. We kind of have 3 sections to this video. We have the footage of the reels. We went Christmas tree cutting, so we've got that. We actually ended up going Christmas tree cutting twice because we wanted a second tree, and so we did it twice. So we've got both of those, and then we've got the interior footage of all of our decorating for upstairs, downstairs, and then the final products. So the cool thing is I'll just drag this base folder of footage here, and it will import everything for us, and it will keep the file structure, which is fantastic.
No need to do that twice.
Seriously. And then audio as well. I've just got 2 tracks. They're the same track. One of them's instrumental. One of them has the lyrics on it. And that is the basis of our footage. We're also going to want, in my reference files that we talked about yesterday, these are files I use for all of my videos, all of Olivia's videos. Everything is here. So we're going to bring in Olivia's logo to start the video, and then we'll bring in our ending card.
Cool.
All right, merge all those layers together. And now we're ready to start our first sequence and start culling through all the footage. File, new sequence. We're doing 4K UHD, so ultra high definition, just the regular horizontal, not vertical today. I've got my custom preset made, 24 frames per second. We'll go ahead and call this Christmas decorating all footage. Okay. So now we've got this all set up, and it's super easy to bring all the Rush footage in. So I'm just going to do that first since we already have it. I'm just going to select it, paste it into this, and you'll notice it also brought everything into my project here. So it moved all the files into this project, which is super handy. So I'm just going to make another folder here, and I'm going to call this Rush footage, just so that we can kind of keep it all together. And I don't want to go through and categorize it all. So that will do it for us there. Let me put it in the right folder this time. All right, Rush footage. Cool. So like I said, we shot quite a few different things for this project. So we went Christmas tree hunting a couple weekends ago, found our main tree for our living room, but I wasn't super happy with all the footage. I felt like it was missing a couple of pieces of telling the story. So we went out, we got our second tree for upstairs and shot everything again. So we'll start by going through all of this footage. So as you can see, it was a very foggy day. So the first day we went was, it was very sunny. So I was like, oh, we can just go a second time and we'll just shoot the missing footage. Not the case. So we shot everything all over a second time. So this was last weekend. So this is up on Mount Hood, just outside of Portland, Oregon. There's a very cool program here through the Forest Service where you can go and you can buy a permit and you can go out and cut down your own tree in designated areas where they, replant and keep the forest all healthy. So that was very fun to be able to do this year. It was our first year doing that.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
It was a journey. It was a hike, a journey. It was a lot. It was cold.
Did you pick a giant tree like in Christmas Vacation and then you're like, I can't figure out how to carry this?
Okay. The first week we did, because they have a limit.
Oh
you can cut up to 15, a tree that's up to 15 feet tall. And so we found one. We were like, this is cool. We'll just like cut off the bottom and only use the top half. And it just like 15 feet when you were looking at it in a forest, like doesn't look big.
It doesn't feel that big. Right.
No.
And we had to like cut it into 3 pieces. And we had like multiple people trying to like pull it up a hill, like in like 3 feet of snow. And it was chaotic. We got it home and brought it inside and we were like, no, like that's not going to work. So that's how we've been making all of our homemade garlands.
I was going to say
the scraps of that tree.
Now the dots are connecting. I see.
Yes.
Ooh, I love that
Always
sound. Nice
crunching
foliage.
through the snow. Yeah, we were like, we don't want to burn this. We don't want to throw this tree away. That's so wasteful. We just cut it down. So how can we use it? So we've been literally putting garland everywhere we can find in our house, and it's lovely. It's so great.
I bet it smells delightful too.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh.
Very cozy time.
Cool. Oh, so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Bowling out there, having a blast.
Yes,
it was his first time.
snow.
Oh,
Because he's 7 months old, so this was his first winter.
he's still a puppy.
Mhm.
Yes. He was a COVID-born baby.
Oh, born in a time of COVID. He's
Poor
yet
baby.
to see the world. Little does he know.
There's so much to explore. But yep, this was us up there. We found that under these power lines is a really great spot because the trees were actually able to grow there. So that was nice, because if you go in the forest, everything, it's so surrounded by big trees that these little ones that were the size we wanted couldn't grow very well. So this was very nice. We were able to use the little service roads from the power company and find our tree.
Cool. Did you how'd you decide on like a size of your axe? I mean, I feel like that's another thing I'd be like, I don't know. You brought like a
Power
chainsaw.
saw, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
I bought the biggest blades I could find at Home Depot and then realized that the trunks of these trees are literally like 1 inch around. So I probably could use my pocket knife to cut it down, but it worked.
Hey, gotta be prepared.
Right. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going through the ins and out points of all of the footage, seeing what looks good. and then just dragging it into my timeline. So kind of like we talked yesterday, I like to keep everything very focused by task in the timeline. So I've got my grouping here of all of the footage that were from when we're hunting for archery, and then I'll have another block of all of the downstairs decorating, the upstairs decorating, the final product, and then all of the reels that we created in Adobe Rush separate, just to help keep everything, more organized. I'm all about organization. It always pays off.
That's right.
And touching on that, one thing I like to do for this Rush iPhone footage is I'll go ahead and select it all, and I'm actually going to change the label of it. So changing the label changes the color so that it's easier to recognize the footage. And a lot of these colors mean something different that we already know. When we see that color, we're like, oh, that's an adjustment layer. That's a file from After Effects. That's audio, whatever it may be. So I'm going to pick a color that is lesser used, like yellow, and I'm just going to know that that is all of my real footage. I'm also going to do one other thing to this. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to unlink it, which lets you drag the audio independent of the video clip. And that also just makes it easier to delete the audio because we don't need it. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that audio and just keep these video clips.
You don't
Yes.
like my Jingle Bells song?
It would be weird with the other songs. So
True. The song we have for this video is actually very cute. It's very wholesome.
it is very fun. So let's jump into that really quick because I didn't touch too much on how I edit the audio to make it flow with the video yesterday. So we've got our two songs here, and I'm going to do the non-instrumental one. So I'm just going to preview this here. Let's just give it a little listen.
We got snow under.
Okay, so that's fun. That's
ready.
good for the
I was
intro.
ready.
I was ready. I was ready with that eggnog. Let's do this.
So I'm going to actually turn on that audio scrubbing thing really quick because I find that super helpful when I'm going through to kind of find my keyframes, or to make my markers, actually is what I meant. You can kind of see just looking at the waveforms that there's, kind of distinctive breaks that look like they're probably pretty repetitive.
Is
So
that what you're looking for? You look at, tell us kind of like what are you aiming for here?
So basically what I'm looking for is, this song is only 3 minutes long, and I know the video is going to be a lot longer. So I'm trying to find a way to make it cleaner to loop it. So I'm going to find basically a beat, and then I'm just going to duplicate that clip to make the song longer. So we'll find the first part, and we'll find when it hits the beat. I can hear it coming in right there, so I'll throw a marker there. And then I know towards the end of the song, I'm probably going to find another little beat right there. So right on that hit. And now when I drag this into my timeline, if I can drag it correctly, we'll see those markers come through. And the shortcut for marker is M. I use it pretty often.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and put just like little cuts right here. And now we've got this song broken into 3 sections. So I know I'm going to want the beginning and the end, but I'm just going to loop this middle section for as long as I need the video to be. So let's just do it. Let's just do one time for now. It's not going to be too long of a video. And then we'll drag all of this. And let's listen to this cut right here and see if it flows like I'm hoping that it will.
Oh yeah, feels like Christmas.
Yeah, you can't even tell that was a loop.
Perfect.
That's
The
pretty
song
good.
worked really well for that. Not all songs do. Some songs, they're just very difficult. So I
Yeah.
also like to bring in the instrumentals. I didn't do this in this song, but I always download if there's an instrumental version of the song, because sometimes it's easy to use that, especially if it's a video where we're going to have a voiceover and then like some B-roll footage, because you can cut really easy back and forth between having lyrics for when it's just B-roll and then cutting through with instrumentals for when it's when it's Olivia talking.
Super
or
smart.
whoever talking.
Because you don't want all of those voices.
Exactly.
That's a lot.
That's too much. That's
So
too
yeah.
much.
For
Like
instance-
hearing voices in your head. That's what that would feel like.
Right.
if the cuts, if the beats don't work just right, is there some tricks or something that you recommend to sort of make it flow a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is finding the like primary beat. So if it's like a 4/4 song, which means that there's 4 beats per measure, then just make sure you're always on the first one instead of, kind of cutting through the middle of a measure.
Yeah, because
If that,
the human mind knows, like you feel it. You're like, that's
Yeah.
missing something.
and then just tossing on a little crossfade. It's really easy if you just right click, apply default transitions. It'll put a little crossfade
I
there.
love that.
That's what I always
probably
do.
the easiest way.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah, it
It's
works
a good
great.
little hack. It's a good little hack.
So just showing you kind of what I mean with the instrumental. So we'll listen to this here. The bottom track is the instrumental and the top is the one with lyrics. So it should flow pretty nicely.
This once a year, and now it's here.
And then you just have instrumental if you wanted to have, someone come in and start doing voiceover there instead of hearing them go into the big chorus.
I was ready for the big chorus.
I know it's a little bit of a letdown sometimes, but it's really nice just as a little audio sort of engineering hack. All right, so now we've gone through some of the footage. I've showed you the audio. Let's start cutting. So I'm going to open up my project that I did last night.
Literally at midnight. Like at midnight.
Doesn't sleep.
We
Doesn't sleep.
had it cut by like 3 p.m., but there's so many different, as you'll see, colors in this video that I just had to keep going and coloring and changing it and changing my mind. And it's the epitome of getting down a rabbit hole. So,
But you did it. And during that time, I cleaned up. I wrapped 8 Christmas presents. Like, I got it done.
so fun. Okay, that was a fun sound.
That shot that I just saw with the Christmas lights twinkling in the garland was beautiful. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, this is from the end of Olivia's reel, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's shot on iPhone
Gorgeous.
Mhm.
and edited in Rush.
Adobe Rush, and we know that because it's
Woohoo.
labeled with a yellow. And I mean,
Yes.
this is the thing. Because another good reason to keep your things color coordinated like this and to know what footage is your rush is because it might be a different size than the rest of your footage, right? Or it might need to have a different kind of adjustment made to it. So that's a really smart way to keep everything organized too.
Definitely. Because if
Yeah.
you try to color like an F-log like video and an iPhone video with the same adjustment, that would not
gonna
look good.
It's not gonna
No.
work. Mm-mm. Don't do it, girl.
Right. And so another thing that I did here is you can see this is all that footage that I was telling you about from our first trip. It was super sunny and I came home, cold through it all, and that was when we decided that I didn't have everything I needed. So I just marked that as brown so that I know I'm not going to use this footage, but it's still there in case, for some reason I need to go grab a driving shot or something like
Sure.
that.
Or like if you want to get really wild, you could take it in After Effects, use the new Roto Brush 2 to take all
True.
that out and then throw a cloudy sky in. Boom.
True.
What?
That tool is just mind-blowing to me.
You guys are speaking a foreign language to me right now.
Okay, so we can kind of see here, the first thing, just like yesterday, I'm just going to drag this all a little bit over and I'm going to bring in Olivia's logo. So you can see there's a lot of stuff in here now that wasn't there. That's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it later. I'm going to bring in the logo animation right there on that first track. And then let's give it a listen, see where we're at.
I'm feeling the Christmas spirit already.
So I wanted to stop right about there, but as you can see, the animation doesn't quite go that long. It has a little fade out in it. So I'm going to go here and find where that fade starts. So on that frame, and then I'm going to right click it and do add frame hold. So what that should do is that's going to basically just create a freeze frame for us.
Oh wow, this is cool. I'm learning so much.
I've always seen that when I right clicked on clips, but I've never really been able to master it until last night. So a lot of learning going on for these videos, which is always fun. There's always so much to learn, even though I've edited in Premiere for
And there's
probably
always so
10
many
years.
ways to do it too. Because another
yeah.
thing you could do is you could make this logo motion graphics template with responsive time, and then you can stretch that however long you want.
That's
And
probably the way I
animation
should have done it.
stage.
'Cause
Well,
I did
it's
it all
okay.
in
We're
After
learning.
Effects.
We're learning. We're skill sharing. This is why we're here.
Exactly.
Everybody has good ideas. You know?
Absolutely. All right, so we've got our little logo in there. So now we can start cutting footage. So I've got to kind of decide, what do I want to be that first shot that really grabs everybody's attention? And I think we want to start telling the story by, our driving. So
With all of my beautiful cinematic video clips. Thank you.
yes, the handheld pothole ridden road footage. So yeah, let's start with just a couple of these driving clips right here. Cut those together. And just kind of like flow with the beat of the song. Oops. And we'll just kind of cut these in.
I'm definitely feeling the seasons right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready.
It was very fun to edit this. It was definitely getting me in the mood.
As your garland just starts like taking over your house,
Right.
hugging you, you're like, yes, holidays are here.
So let's get this like steering wheel footage, and then I think Olivia got a cool shot out the mirror that I really liked. So let's do that one, and let's listen to that and see what that sounds like. Beat right there, we'll cut that. And then let's see if there's some more usable stuff. Yeah, we'll drag that clip out a little bit. And now we've got our establishing of us driving. So let's get some establishing shots of the area that we're going to be in. So Olivia walking. I think it might be one of these clips that I passed over. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is kind of the establishing shot of the area we're in. And we'll see when we get to coloring. This was very tricky to color with this fog. The exposures were just all over the place. And
Super bright.
it was a time, but we made it work.
Yeah, I will say the overexposure is my fault. Definitely my fault. When we're shooting in F-Log, it's so flat, I can't tell what it looks like because we weren't shooting with the monitor. We were
Incredibly
just shooting
tricky.
with the camera.
Yeah, if you missed it yesterday, what we're talking about
Yes.
is on some of the fancier cameras, you can film in a way that's like super flat. Like everything's kind of, it's just like taking the shadows as much as information from the light, from the shadows, from the highlights. And so everything looks pretty bland, but that's so that you can push it in any direction that you want to in post, right?
Absolutely.
Is that a good way to describe that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just like a raw photo versus a JPEG.
Yeah,
photo.
it'll give you some more flexibility in the end to be able to make it more saturated, to give it that faded vintage look that you love. Do whatever you want because
And
it's your life.
I did shoot them quite a bit overexposed, but because it was shot in the like F-Log more raw format, Zach actually was able to save it quite a bit once he color corrected everything. So if I had filmed it that overexposed, like just regular, like not in F-Log, we probably would not have. There would have been no return, but
Yeah.
You'd have to go back and cut a third tree.
We've got enough trees in our house. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we basically will just go through and cut all of that. And then I'm just going to show you again kind of how I have everything laid out now that it's all cut. So this is Olivia decorating downstairs, kind of just showing us all of that fun stuff in this grouping. Then the shelf was a big focal point for us. That was one of the big like decorating heroes of of this video. So we've got all of the video of her, decorating the shelf, all that fun stuff here. Then the upstairs garland, which we made a reel for. This shot was really fun because we set the slider up and she was putting the garland up and then, go past her head, throw a tiny little crossfade on there. Can't even tell. And then it's decorated.
Magic.
So that's very fun.
So
We've been trying to do a lot more of those in-camera transitions, and it's been pretty good. There's one here that didn't quite work for us, but it ended up turning out pretty cool in the end. So we were supposed to have the slider shot here, and the positioning wasn't quite right of her head. So it went further, but it was, I don't know, it just didn't end up working no matter how hard we tried. But, it ended up being okay. So definitely just a recommendation, always try things. It's okay if it doesn't work. You'll learn for the next one. So yeah, that's kind of all of our footage. We've got it all cut down here. And then again, all the bad footage, all the reels, which we'll cut in and spend a lot of time working on the effects on. And then the final product shots.
And everyone in the chat's really just seeing our house tour right now. They're seeing,
Right.
seeing the upstairs, the
sneak peek
downstairs.
into the house tour.
I
which
mean, you guys are crushing it with the Christmas decor, though.
it's
like,
all Olivia.
It's our first year with a house, so it's our
So
first year getting to
exciting.
decorate.
Okay, so let's take a look at this cut version here. It's a little different than what we just cut, but this was where I landed. So we kind of have our establishing driving shots, very fun. We pick our tree. Obviously, this is the uncolored version. The only thing that I've done here is I've thrown this adjustment layer on, which just has the LUT on it, just to kind of bring everything to that Rec 709 like we talked about yesterday, that more full looking video, and then we'll go and color everything individually.
And
So
709 is it's a color space. Like if you
Yes.
ever go into your project settings, well, actually, I think Premiere is always in Rec 709. If you're in After Effects and you go into color settings, there's a ton of different
Ton of
color
them.
spaces, and it's all like math.
I don't know what it means. I just know
Very-
709 is the one for
But
me.
the 709 is the one that most of you need to know about. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We're all trying to get to that space so that I think the point of it is that if you all agree that we're in this space, then the colors will look, you can expect that the colors will look consistent whether a person is watching your stuff on an iPhone or a computer or a TV. You know, you want to try to have some consistency, and so that's what color spaces were made for, so that we can just say like, hey, we're all here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So again, this is cut down to the music. And what I've done here is Olivia starts decorating the wreath. That's kind of the first decorating piece, our front door. And then we throw in the reel showing how she makes the next piece that we're going to be decorating with. So you can see we've got all of that here. And all of the effects, like we said, should be syncing over here on effect controls. You can see the lumetri color that came over, which we're going to change later. Sorry, Olivia. But we're going to go a little more in detail. So we've got that cut in. Then we've got the
Cute.
reveal shot of her putting it up here.
Yeah, really easy to make, by the way. We just got some fallen sticks from our backyard, cut them down, glued them to some twine, made a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Precious.
So as you can see, all of these shots are very different lighting conditions, very different white balances, just a whole host of different things. Even shooting on the monitor, thinking it looks right there, it's just, when you put everything together, it all looks so different. Another reel here for our shelf decorating, for all these little trees that we made.
Ooh, those
Olivia.
you got that camera on a slide? What's going on with that shelf
Mhm.
shot? Que bonito.
Yeah, we got a slider. We got it a couple months ago. I think
That was
it's
our most
probably
recent
our
investment.
yeah. I was going to say it's our most recent piece of gear, and it has.
It's so
it was like we
fun.
said yesterday. We rented it for a weekend, and I was like, "There's no way I can make a video without owning this piece." of
I'm
equipment."
never going back. I'm
Yeah.
never going back.
And I was like, "The Ronin is great, but the slider is like, if I really want it to look good, I'll break that bad boy out." So yeah,
I mean, this is what we're doing. We're talking about making cinematic videos for social, and your gear is important. And there are a lot of really cool hacks around some of it. You don't have to have a lot of
Absolutely.
expensive gear, but definitely emulating these shots. If you notice, there's a lot of really smooth movement happening, tracking
Mhm.
in, sliding to the side, and like those are the kinds of things that I think stand out versus just having like a shot from one lockdown place
Absolutely.
or
Yes.
shaky hand.
Speaking of hacks, a slider was actually one of the first things that I made when I was a kid. Just getting into video, my buddies and I went and got some PVC, just like water pipe from Home Depot, set it down, got some like wheels to set the tripod on, and made our own little slider. It cost like $20, and
That's awesome.
it just added so much. I wish that the one we had now cost $20, but it's a little bit better.
I helped out with this documentary film challenge we used to do.
Uh-huh.
You'd make a short doc in like 4 days, and
Oh, wow.
you'd get your category or genre that you had to stick to on Thursday and have to be done by Sunday. And we did this documentary on this pinball, people who played pinball in Seattle at the time, which were obsessed. And I knew this guy that was the guy that kind of rented pinball machines to all the bars, all the people in town. So he let us come over and opened up the pinball machine and had this little GoPro. And I made a dolly by taping it with gaff tape on the top of a micro machine monster truck that I had.
Oh
from
my
last
gosh,
year.
yes, I've seen people
And
do
then,
that kind of
like-
stuff. That's awesome.
like zooming the camera in through the pinball machine. It was
That is so cool.
my favorite hack.
I honestly think sometimes the hacks they're the best. Like you get the coolest shots out of those kind of things.
Absolutely.
Cool. So as you can see, I'm just kind of going through and coloring this footage. I haven't done these ones. I'm just starting here with this garland shot, and then I'm going to work my way over just to kind of show you how to match different shots. So I've warmed this one way up because it was very cold. So here's what it looked like before. Very cool, very green.
Oh,
so we're
yeah.
going to warm it up, make it a little
Has
bit
to
more
be
pink.
warm and
Get that
Christmassy.
green out of
Up
here.
the exposure. And then we'll match this one, which this shot I spent so long on last night coloring because every time I went back and watched it, I was not happy with it. So we're just going to leave it like this today because I could spend the whole rest of the stream coloring just the
Oh my
shot.
gosh.
But you can see a very drastic difference. So since these are the same, I'm just going to copy my Lumetri preset onto here. Oops.
And you could just copy and paste
Yep.
the Lumetri setting that has all your customizations, right? From clip to
Correct.
clip.
Yeah, from the effects control right there. And then I'm going to just keep doing the same. Looks like there was already something on it. So I'll just delete that old one.
I'm noticing too, part of it looks like gives you your cinematic look is your really shallow depth of focus. Can you talk a little about the lenses you use and just sort of like how you achieve that look where things are kind of in focus here and then a little fuzzy and fadey?
Yeah, I'll let you talk to that a little bit, Olivia, because I know that you love talking about your bokeh.
I do. I'm a big fan of a nice shallow depth of field, and we achieve that by shooting just on prime lenses. So we don't shoot with any lenses that like can zoom in and out. They're just like one fixed like focal length. And we shoot, so this is Fuji, so it's a little different because Fuji has their own line of lenses that are like specific to their cropped sensor, which isn't like other cropped sensors. So the primary lens we shoot on that gives that really like warm sort of just like fuzzy glowy look is the 23 millimeter, which that sounds so random and off to anyone who's like in this field because you're like, what is 23 millimeters? But the 23 millimeter acts as like a 35 millimeter on the Fuji camera. So it's a 23 and it goes down to f1.4. And
which means the aperture's really wide open.
Yes.
You
So
get
if
more
we're
light in
shooting
there.
at 1.4, I mean, just like the whole background is just so beautiful and like blurry. And then we also have a 16 millimeter, which acts as like a 24 millimeter. So
the
that also
mirrorless
is
ones are a
1.4.
little bit different than what we're used to from like the
Yes.
Canon, Nikon.
They're definitely a little different, and Fuji just kind of like marches to the beat of their own drum because their crop sensor is still not this like it's a little bit
APS-C.
even more cropped than other crop sensor cameras.
Oh, it's not full sensor.
No, it's not full frame.
I went from a full frame to a crop sensor camera, which is
It's
like
so
a
bizarre.
sin.
And
But
it's not,
I know, but it looks beautiful. I mean,
It's great.
from what I've seen, it looks
because
great.
they have these like lenses that are a bit more like wider, but they're not actually that wide. I really don't see much of a difference because I used to shoot on a full frame with a 24 and now I'm shooting on a crop sensor with a 23, which is like a 35. So it's very similar. But we definitely want to get something even a little bit tighter, like maybe an 85, which I know with Fuji would not be an 85. It would probably be like a 56 or something random like that. But yeah, that's what we use. And I would say we're probably like usually shooting pretty low in regards to keeping our aperture open, like maybe like 2 like to like 1.8, like maybe, I don't know, Zach, are you shooting video at 1.4 at all?
No, I don't like going to 1.4 because you can see a lot of the like aberrations on it. So I usually try to go down to 1.8 at like a minimum.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
I'll open it up to 1.4 for photos if, I mean, it's like a really like detailed shot of something, Or of course, if I need more light, then
Yeah, I
if it's a
think-
bit
Yeah.
darker inside, because that is one thing that you're kind of giving up with a crop sensor camera versus a full frame is you're not getting as much light. So you do have to either like bump the ISO quite a bit or open up the aperture.
Right. Which if you bump the ISO too high, it gets kind of grainy, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
Starts
I
looking
prefer
really
to
noisy.
just go down to 1.4 and be really precise.
Where are we at, Zach?
Yeah.
What have you
All
been
right, I'm
up to
almost
while we've
done.
been nerding out about lenses?
Right. Well, actually, I was just gonna say at the one time I did shoot at 1.4 was for these like ending shots, and I shot at 1.4 because it was so stinking dark. The ISO was like 1600, and I was just like, I can't keep pushing this. So
yeah,
I
this was at like 11:30 p.m. last night
I'll take the
in our
half
living
stop.
room. So it was dark.
So I've kind of just gone through all of these clips right through here and colored them a little bit. So as you can see, again, every time I see this shot, I'm just like, it's not quite right, but we're just going to leave it for now. It's fine. I went through and matched all of these shots. And again, these ones are very washed out, so they could still use a little bit of work. But just got the white balance is the biggest thing. The white balance and the exposure, getting that right first. Then you can go in and spend your hours tweaking it until your heart is content. So just to kind of give you a before and after, there's the before. Very green.
Gross.
Ugh.
Yeah, it does. When you see it coming from the final product going back to the regular, you're like, wow, that looked really bad, even if you thought it looked good to begin with.
I
So,
mean, yeah,
kinda
I
got
thought it
those-
looked great to start out with, but
yeah,
now
when we were
it's a whole
scrubbing
new
through, I was
world.
like, awesome. So one last thing that I want to touch on is this particular shot right here. And again, we did the same trick yesterday with just keyframing the scale to give that Ken Burns effect because like Olivia said, it was 11 o'clock and I did not want to set up the slider. So I was like, we're just going to do this in post and it looks totally fine. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it's
But you can see these LEDs give off a horrendous green glow to this
Oh.
footage. So even if I, white balance this towards pink, then the tree gets too pink and there's still some green around this because they're different color temperature lights, which that's a whole nother thing that we could talk about is lighting color temperature, but we'll leave that for another day.
I wonder though if you want. I wonder if you could mask
That's exactly what I was
half
going to
of
say.
it and then
So that is the
make
solution.
another adjustment, right?
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
the solution I went with. So I
you should
replaced it.
mention, Zach, is that you are a lighting designer as well. And so you're
Well,
very
I was until February.
well until COVID, you were a lighting designer as well, and you are very proficient in all things lighting. So.
I do like some good concert lighting. So one thing like Dacia was saying is you can mask this out. I chose to do it in After Effects because I love After Effects. I'm sure there's a way to do it in Premiere Pro, but I was working in After Effects already, so I was like, let's just do this. So I'm going to replace...
a little time in After Effects. It's
Exactly.
My favorite.
It's a good segue because that's what we're going to spend pretty much the rest of the stream in. So I'm going to replace this with an After Effects composition. And it might take a minute for After Effects to open because I didn't have it open yet. But exactly what I'm going to do, like she said, is I'm going to mask around the like shelving unit because it just drove me crazy having that little green glow. So I'm going to save it to Christmas decorating, After Effects projects. I'm just going to give this the number 2 since we already had one going. And we can see it brings everything in here.
Got
We've
those
got this.
keyframes down.
Yes, it didn't bring over this adjustment layer, of course, because this is in Premiere. So we're still dealing with the flat color here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and make a little mask. You can either draw it out. You can draw, oh, that's a shape. You can draw it out. You can do a rectangle. So I'll just take this and just kind of mask around it. Just something close. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, actually, I did that wrong. I need to make the adjustment layer and put the mask on the adjustment layer. So again, I'm just going to open up my mask, cut it, paste it, move it to where I want. And then we're going to do all of our like coloring with this. So let's do this. Zoom it right there. I'm going to take my mask and I'm going to expand it a little bit, feather it a little bit.
That feather is clutch, by the way.
Oh yeah.
It really helps
I
make it
all the
everything
time.
a little seamless.
So again, all I'm going to do, Lumetri is also in After Effects. So I'm just going to drag that on to keep it consistent. I'm going to make the tint maybe like 15. No, not 15, like 5.
That was too pink.
That is very pink. Just enough so that you can sort of see it. I'm gonna again expand this mask just a little bit so that it covers the whole shelf, and then save it. And then when we come back in Premiere, boom, you can see the changes sync over nicely. And that is more or less just the quick and dirty of coloring. I think in my final product last night, I ended up going into the curves and taking down some of the green. Lots of different ways to deal with it. You can color things a million different ways and still get the same product.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we're going to jump in. I'm not going to bore you again with coloring everything. And we're going to get to the fun part in After Effects. So we've got our video here. This is the colored version of it. And I'm going to select all of these clips. These are my Rush clips, and we're going to make them pretty because as you can see, black boxes all around, not fun.
Yeah, how are we gonna do this?
Yeah, so we're gonna replace all of these with an After Effects composition like we just did for that one color clip. So I'm gonna right click, they're all selected, replace with After Effects composition. And you'll see they all pile in. One thing I noticed last night is these 2 clips come in. No clue what they are or where they come from, but they're not relevant. So I will delete them.
Okay,
Yeah,
we need to talk about that because we'll talk offline about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's something I did, but anyway, they're there. So I'm just going to delete those 2 and we'll scroll through everything. As we can see, it all looks really nice. It's pixely because I'm just scrubbing.
Definitely a little pixely.
And it's in the order that
Yes.
that you've already cut it into.
And we can see, you know, it shows the ins and out points, which is super cool. Everything's layered on top of each other. Fantastic. So I've got some templates that I've made before. So I'm going to go ahead and just import those into this project just to save us some time. And then we'll run through all of those and see what it looks like. So let me pull those up. Again, I keep those in my reference file, After Effects templates, iPhone to horizontal. I'm just going to pop that project in here. And that is super simple. All of that project comes in, the folder structure, everything. I love that about After Effects. And then I'm going to look at my templates. So we've got a lot of cool little ones that we've made. We've got this one that's just 3 vertical ones, a little fun other version of that. We've got an arch. A lot of these were inspiration photos from an app Alivia uses to make her stories on Instagram. So I was like, I can make those in After Effects pretty easy. This one's very basic. It's just the center with a background. This one's kind of that like Super 8 style film.
I
This is
see.
just like an offset side by side. And then this is just the basic like blurry background with the video in the middle.
Oh man, I'm gonna blow your mind in a little bit.
I know, I'm so excited. I feel like just what we talked about beforehand is going to change this game so much. All right. So I think we'll start with this arch one because this is one of Olivia's favorites right now. She loves this arch template. So we're going to go ahead and
It's wholesome.
It really is.
It's wholesome.
So I'm going to just look at this here and we've got our linked comps here. Again, this is the one that we just did. We'll close that because we don't need it right now. And I'm going to go ahead and pre-compose all of these. So what pre-composing does is it takes all those clips and puts them in a sub clip or a sub composition basically. So
a nested comp.
Exactly, same exact thing. So we'll go and we'll call this stick tree PC standing for pre-comp, and boom. So now we can see it's just one thing. If we drag down or click down into that, all of our clips are there and looks just like how we had it. We'll talk about why we did it this way in a minute, because basically we're going to look at this arch now, and I'm just going to copy from it. There's multiple ways to do this, but I'm just going to copy my background that I had, and then I'm going to go on to this clip right here, and I'm going to copy the masks, and I'm going to copy the transform. So you can command click to select both of those, and then paste it on here. And there you go.
Boom.
It's that easy.
Boom.
Now we've got this nice little clip here. It's a little cropped in on bowing. That's fine. And it just kind of makes the reel a little bit easier to look at. So let's kind of break this down. So the way I made this is I started with a black solid for the background, and then I just threw some effects on it. So the first thing I did was this fractal noise effect, which by itself looks pretty cool. You know, it makes a nice little like noise, I don't know, fractal noise background. And then what I did is I was like, I want to tint it. I want to make it the colors that I want. So I threw this tint effect on, mapped the black to a nice cream color, and then the white to a little bit brighter version of that color just by coming in, copying this color code and then changing the brightness of it. And now we've got a pretty cool looking effect. It's a little blurry, but I think it's good. One thing I'm going to add is noise. So just regular film grain style noise, just to kind of add that extra little pop. And as you can see, when it gets pixely, you can really see it. But it just kind of gives it a little bit more definition there.
Yeah, a little magic, a little something, which a lot of people, you know, if you're new to After Effects, I'm telling you, fractal noise, it turns out, is at the basis of most effects. Most things you want to do, you know, you just want to add a little like texture, basically.
Exactly.
Is at the root of a lot of that.
And there's tons of different versions of it here that you can play around with, and it'll make it look a little different. I just stuck with basic for this one. I thought it looked really nice, but yeah, it definitely is a very popular plugin. And then I also wanted to put the noise on this video just so that it's kind of consistent, but obviously the same amount. You can see on video noise acts a little different than when it's just on top of a more flat color background. So I just had it at 10. This was probably the most basic effect that we did. The last thing, of course, is the masks. So it's two different masks. It's a rectangle for the base and then a circle sitting on top of it. As you can see, well, that just inverts it. But yeah, the circle and then the rectangle, and it makes this an arch. So you can kind of do that. You can put tons of different shapes and masks and play around with them, invert them. Tons of different fun things. You know, if you wanted to feather the edges of it, whatever you want. Masks are probably what I use After Effects for the most. Well, maybe not the most, but it plays a role in just about every project that I do in After Effects. So now we've got our cool little stick tree comp, and we're ready to work on the next one.
And there it is, right? You know,
yeah, it just sinks right through.
Applied, and this is using
Very
something
cool.
called dynamic link.
And I think that came out like probably like 5 or 6 years ago at this point. It's been a while, but
It's been a while, maybe 10 actually.
Maybe 10. That just shows how long I've been working in Premiere. But yeah, it's an awesome link between the two. Literally, as soon as you switch back into the application, it updates just like that. All right, so now we'll work on our next one. Again, same deal. We're going to select all of these clips, and we will replace with After Effects composition. Boom, they're all in. They're all the right scale. Some of the video we shot at different frame rates, so I know last night I had to make sure that my scale was set correctly, otherwise the video gets super zoomed in, which was, I don't know how I shot at the wrong frame rate, but you know, it happens. So we just had to roll with it. No, I think it was when we were shooting time lapses versus regular video, the frame rate and everything was different, but these all look good to me. So now we've got to pick our next style. So let's see. I think we want to go with maybe this offset one. This one was a pretty cool one that we made. This was not really based on anything, just sort of, you know, how can we do something a little bit different, but that still flows with the project. So we'll just kind of look at the breakdown of this one again. Black solid, black and white solids, you'll use them for days. Fractal noise, same thing, a little bit of extra noise, and then we're going to tint it again, just like we did for the other one.
Just to make everything consistent, keep the colors looking good.
Yeah. And then again, we'll talk about these placeholders here. They've both got masks on them. So to kind of give just like that rounded corners look instead of just a, you know, square video, just kind of make it a little bit cleaner and nicer. And then I also threw in a shape layer. So the shape layer, it's very similar to a mask, but it's a shape. So you can change your fill up here if you want to, you know, fill it, which we don't. You can change the stroke, which is the outside. You can make that border whatever color you want. So we again picked a nice cream, just a little bit different than the background color, just to kind of separate it, define where the video is. And then you can change the stroke width, so you can make it as thick or thin as you want. We went with 10 pixels for this one. It seemed to be a nice, pretty thin, just enough to give it that separation from the background. So let's see. What else can we talk about in this one? Yeah, so the background as well, you can see this is blurry. So this is another very popular plugin in my arsenal, the Fast Box Blur. It basically just does exactly that. It blurs things really fast. It's a really efficient plugin. Just makes it look really nice and clean. And then one more thing we're going to throw on there that is not currently in here is I want to bring this noise onto it, because I noticed when I didn't have the noise on all of the clips, these looked more polished in the background and it just didn't quite flow right. So just to give that little differentiation, another 10% of noise on both of those clips, just to kind of help it blend. So again, this obviously is not the clip or not our reel. So we're going to jump back into this linked comp, and then I'm going to move this offset right here, just so that they're side by side, easier to work on. And we're going to go ahead and start the same thing. We'll pre-compose, and we'll call this, what is this one? Trees. PC for pre-comp, and boom, there we are again. So this one was pretty simple. There's only a couple layers, so it makes it really easy to do this. Boom, black solid on the base, shape layer on top. And then now we're going to go ahead and copy again the masks and the transform. And first one, we'll duplicate this because we need the video in there twice. And then we'll get the masks and the transform from this one. And then another thing to touch on with this, there's a couple different ways to do this. If you're starting an After Effects project from scratch, like for instance, if I open this template one, the best way that you can design a template is, instead of having these raw footage layers here, if you pre-compose the footage into a like placeholder pre-comp, then all you have to do when you open the project is you just drop that footage into the pre-comp, and you don't have to do it twice. You don't have to copy and paste settings between the two. This is just the way that I opted to do it for this tutorial, just to kind of show you guys the full process. But I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, pre-comps are lifesavers. So if you work in After Effects, you know all about pre-comps.
And just to tease it, just a little teaser here too. You know, pre-comps are a really powerful tool that we use in something called Essential Properties. I'm not sure if you've heard of Essential Properties. They're sort of like the motion graphics template version for AE. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that. But you can basically do all this versioning and all this stuff by just creating pre-comps from your first original template. And I'll tell you more later. I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm very excited to blow your mind. Demo. Yes, I'm excited to speed up your workflow.
Yes, I know. I know that that's something that I've been looking for a couple of years, and I always search the forums to see if it's coming out. So I'm very excited that it's finally here. All right. So those are the first two. We've got them, I think, looking pretty much exactly how we want them. I think I need to put the noise again on these two. So we'll set that 10%. Boom, 10%. Go ahead and save it. And then as soon as we pop back into Premiere, already there.
Boom.
All right, last one for this particular set is we're going to replace these all with the After Effects composition as well. And you'll see these, some of them came in as pre-comps because there's a lot of different like speed things going on with them. A lot of them have different scaling that we need to deal with. So I'm going to go ahead and select all these pre-comp ones. And again, these came in as pre-comps because Alivia sped these clips up. This is the reel that you guys made, the very first one in Rush today. So these all came in as different speeds. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to scale these guys up too, just to make everything fit nicely. And we can see now all of these are nice and the same size. Boom.
Cool.
Okay. So now again, first step, pre-compose. We're just going to nest all of those below. And we'll call this Garland PC. And we've got that all ready. Okay, and then I think Alivia really liked this one that I made. So this was kind of just a fun little, something. I don't know. We were just kind of thinking, how can we play around with different shapes and mess around with that and make it look really cool? So
because you got a lot of real estate to make up for, right? Like you're trying to fill that landscape, and sometimes you got to get creative with that vertical vid.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, this is just about it. So again, we started with the 3x1 vertical. So we took this and then we basically just split it in half, put a little gap there and called it good. So we have, like we talked about last time, the shape layers, all of these guys around, just a nice little border. I don't know, it really helps make the video pop. We can take a look at what it would look like without it. Pretty boring. And then again, these are all just same deal that we've been doing. A lot of masking, changing the mask shape, aligning everything, making it look good. So we'll just blaze through this really quick. We'll copy the shape layers, put this on our linked comp. Boom, put the background in. And then we'll go ahead and copy all of these settings. So mask, transform, need to make all 5 of these. And then we're just gonna copy and paste really quick across these. And then that will be it for After Effects for today.
Cool. Well, until
the magic happens.
Cue DMX.
Let's go.
I'm gonna make y'all lose your mind up in here.
So there we go. Now
Boom.
that was that simple. And again, the reason we do pre-comps is because I don't want to go through and duplicate all of these 5 times. Doing the pre-comp just makes it so much easier. All the footage is dealt with elsewhere down the line and then brought into
because you've already
main
edited,
project.
it's already cut, it's how you want it. Super cool. And
All
I've
right.
got a really fancy way to show off your vertical footage. Now you've made 2 videos out of the one video, which is also a super plus and super cool.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
cool. Yep. Now all of our effects are in here and we're pretty much done with the video at this point.
Rad. It looks so good. I am totally feeling the seasons. I'm in the holiday spirit now. And I wish I could just go like have some hot cocoa at your house right now.
I mean,
That sounds very nice.
Pandemic though, right afterwards for sure.
Afterwards,
Let's take a
yes,
rain
we'll have
check.
you over.
Sounds good. So, hey, what's up, y'all? We also have an artist highlight coming up. It sounds like we do this every week. Paco, you tell me. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been on Adobe Live. Every week, you can nominate yourself. You can nominate people. So let's take it away. Today we've got Eric Gonzalez from Calgary, Canada, that we are spotlighting. And so he just created this really gorgeous video, an ode to his town during pandemic. And this video got a lot of accolades in the press at the time, and it's really lovely. So let's play it. Let's see what let's play it and then have a little commentary, guys.
The white zone is for immediate loading and unloading of passengers only.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
Hey, just wanted to give you a quick call. I've been thinking about you over the past little bit and thought I'd check in. Sounds like I might have caught you at a bad time. Anyways, just wanted to say that I miss you very much. I know it hasn't been that long since we last saw each other. It just seems like forever since we last spoke. It's hard not to be reminded of our time together, especially with spring on its way. Things have been a little bit different this past month for everyone, and things have changed so much. It almost doesn't seem real. I know how resilient you are and how you've always had that can-do attitude, but I can imagine things being a bit tough, especially now. No one has really gone through anything like this before. But if there's anyone who can go through something like this challenge, it'd be you. I miss you so much, and I really want to be with you again, but I want to make sure we do so at the right time. I know we won't be able to do the things we planned on doing this year. And that's okay. Don't feel too bad about it. I understand. The reason this country is so special is that we're there for each other, especially during tough times. You know, this whole experience has really put into perspective what's important. It's not so much all the physical spaces, but people. Being in a community and just being together. Looking back, I know we're going to say it was the right thing to do. We're going to come out of this stronger and closer together. There's a lot of people all over trying to make things better. And they're really going above and beyond to make sure we're all okay. The least we can do is to do our part. Anyways, wish you all the best over the next little bit. Can't wait to see you again. Love you.
Wow,
Very cool.
that was really cool.
He did a really good job. I think the voiceover really did it for me.
Seriously.
It was the voiceover for me. But I'm sure, Zach, you probably loved all of his like drone shots since you're a drone guy as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, we watched
Beautiful.
through a few of his videos in his reel and on his website, and I love drone footage, especially being a pilot. I just love that perspective of the cities and of nature, and it's just, I aspire to get some good drone footage like that for sure.
Yeah, just so haunting too. I think just
That too,
it's
yeah.
really just it's such a touch. You know, it's just impactful to see all these empty places, like that shot
Absolutely.
over the empty amusement park or wherever that those like
Yeah.
trams were.
Yeah,
that
even
really
like
got me.
the shots with the highways where there's like 2 cars on the road, like on like a city highway. Definitely crazy. It's kind of hard to even remember back to that time because things are so much different now. Like, you know, people drive around and stuff
sure.
like that. But there definitely was that time when like that
was, like,
was not a
Ghost
thing.
town, yeah.
That time
Yeah.
that
So,
feels like it was 10 years ago.
It
Yes.
really feels like it was so long ago. It's
So
crazy.
props to Eric for like being able to capitalize on that and get those shots, because like when else are you going to get a shot midday in like Calgary in a big city
Seriously.
with no cars on the road or no people walking around? That's kind of
Absolutely.
like a hopefully
Hopefully.
once in a
Hopefully.
lifetime thing.
Hopefully.
Yes.
He, you know, so much reverence. I feel like there was a lot of respect and reverence given to the moment too.
Absolutely.
So much deserved. You guys go check out more of Eric's work on gonzalezvideo.com. His reel is really great.
He does
got
a lot of
good
cool stuff.
footage, a lot of really cool stuff. Yeah. So shout out Eric. Woo, woo.
Woohoo.
Woohoo.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's see, guys, what I have.
Yeah,
in
show us
store.
the good stuff.
I have some stuff. Y'all can still see my screen. Everything's chill
Yes.
over there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. So let's say I've got this, you know, I'm working on this pet travel show. That's what I do.
Fun.
And, you know, I've got my dolphins here, and I want to plug my next show called Pet Wars. Who's cuter,
Ooh,
cats or dogs? I don't know.
Boeing.
The
Cutest.
Boeing's like, I wish I had a shot of Boeing right now. So check it. So, you know, basically, if I wanted to create a version of this with dogs and a version of this with cats, a version with bunnies, I have to make 3 different ones in the past, right? But
Yeah.
now with media replacement, and it's available in beta. So this is the thing. You go download your beta app from Creative Cloud Desktop, do enable feature. You can, there it is, enable media replacement. You basically have this new control in motion graphics templates that lets you drag and drop footage into that's some space. Oh, that's right, because I was going to do this. Okay, like, so let's say this is your end card. You can just create your template and make your end card look however you want. If you've got those 2 that you had, or you've got a lower third that you want to add a new logo to, you can do that. I'm rushing
Very
here
cool.
because we don't have a ton of time, but for those graphics that you were doing in, that you were just showing us.
Yeah.
So here we are back into the thing. I've got my puppies. The essential graphics panel in After Effects, whatever controls you want to change. So like the tint, the basically the masks that you had created, you could put these into the essential graphics panel and then use basically what we call essential properties. They used to be called master properties. So if you're Googling it and you want to learn more about it, they're probably going to be under master properties. We're just at Adobe, we're trying to create more equitable language. And so we've changed the name to essential properties. But you take that primary composition, and then basically any of the things that I've said I want to be able to iterate on and change. Let me just zoom in here. Let's say I want to change the color of this one, and I want to change it to be a different video. Like I've got this as dogs and the other one was a cat. I can also change the color here. You can say like, maybe I want that to be blue, and it doesn't change the one from before. That one is still there.
Sweet.
So you can make as many iterations as you want, and all you do is drag and drop new footage into
so amazing.
which let me just find some footage real quick. Let's say we want this kitty, okay, and then we drop that over. Boom. All I have to do is double click here. I'm going to key it out, just a quick and dirty key. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, let's fit again. There's like my little kitty. Wow. And there they are. And
That's
so fast.
It's so fast. And I can just use the regular transform controls to make her a little smaller, him. I don't know. What are your preferred gender pronouns, kitty? I don't know. And then boom. So basically, you know, you don't have to do all that copy and pasting you were doing for that one that you just showed us at the very end that you have like kind of mirrored. You would just take the layer that is the one that you're kind of mirroring all the places. That's the one control. And then you just drop that pre-comp. When you pre-comped all your footage from Rush, drop another composition into this, and then you're done. Or
I'm so excited to play around with this.
Export it as a motion graphics template, and then just do it in Premiere, and you don't even have to go back to After Effects. You can drop multiple clips in. I made, that classic Parks and Rec look.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, love that show.
So there's basically, you can have as many controls as you want. You can drag and drop multiple. You can swap them. Like let's say I don't like these two shots. I want to switch them. Let's see. Oh, come on, work with me. Let's say I want to switch those. Give it just a sec, and then it will bing, bang, boom. Eventually change. There it is. Whoa. And you can go in and make adjustments too. So please check it out. Again, if you just go to your Creative Cloud desktop app, you can go into beta apps, download the latest, and yeah, you'll be on your way.
That is amazing.
Super cool.
Yeah, wow. I hope you guys I think you're going to like it. It feels like it's right up your alley.
So did you have a part in creating this?
This is the feature I've been working on with our motion graphics templates team. There's about, I think we're a team of 8 or 9 of us.
Oh, wow.
We're pretty small, but we did a lot of research with a lot of users. We had a lot of really great feedback from some really incredible users. And so we're looking for more feedback now, and including for y'all's. So thanks for letting me share that.
Yes, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I can stop sharing my screen yet. So I'm like stalling here.
Cool. Yeah, we can go ahead and let's take a look. I want to show you guys how I cut the promo that I made for this video, which is what we saw way back at the beginning. So I think we're back on my screen now. As you can see, I've got this little clip here, but I started from my final project here. And then all I did was, let's see, I think this is the right project. This one. So I went in here and I looked at my sequences, and I was like, okay, I have my final project. Let's duplicate this and make like a short little teaser showing some of the coolest parts of the video. So I'm going to copy and paste that. You can right click and duplicate as well. And we'll just call this promo Adobe Live. Oh, close enough.
Leo.
And then I decided, I think that I wanted to show off all of this part right in here.
All of my thrift store finds.
Yeah, all of this fun stuff. And then I wanted to show the reel because I wanted to highlight us doing that. And then I was like, okay, I want to stop right there when we're done with the garland. So I went in here. I'm just going to delete out all of this ending stuff. and then come to the beginning and start right before this reel. Delete all of that stuff as well. And all of this beginning stuff. Cool. So now I've got, a short little promo, nothing too crazy. Let me drag this a little shorter. And then one thing I wanted to point out that I found yesterday. So we were talking about ripple delete. And because of this audio track here, if you try to delete, it won't let you. But if you lock this audio track, which says I don't want to change this, then you can click and ripple delete, which is awesome.
Amazing.
I was very glad to find that hack last night.
So helpful.
I'm going to unlock that now because I actually want to mess with the audio. So video is only half of the story, so we've got to also do audio. Let's go ahead and delete those. I don't know where they came from. And we've got our, what is that? Minute and, oh, I see. There we go. I only selected half of it originally. Now we'll drag all that down. So we're sitting at a minute and 30 seconds roughly. So I want to take just the ending of the song. So I'm going to delete all of that. And we've got our ending portion of the song here, which happens very conveniently to be about a minute 30. And I'm just going to set that as my out point at the end of the video there. And then we are free to kind of come through here and cut it back down. So let's just listen to this here, and we'll go ahead and update the cut. Since this is technically a different part of the song, the timing might be a little different. So we'll feel it out and see what feels good.
Feels like Christmas when we're all in one place. It feels like Christmas, these memories we make.
So I think right there, we need to trim that down, and then we'll maybe just bring all of this footage over.
And all the world is wonderful, it's on display to see. It feels like Christmas. It feels like Christmas to me.
That was the beat drop.
I mean, I was muted earlier when I said this, but I'll say it again. I think Target should hire y'all, like for real. Like,
yes, Target, if you're out there.
I mean,
follow us on Instagram.
This is amazing.
Thank you. Let's listen a little more.
This time with one another. We only get this once a year, and now it's here. Yeah, it feels like Christmas when we're all in one place. It feels like Christmas.
So this timing's a little bit off. So let's.
About to say.
Feels like Christmas when we're all.
I'm actually going to slide this out because I really like this like hero slider shot at the end. So we're just going to chill on that for a bit.
Feels like Christmas when we're all in one place.
Yeah, that flowed nice.
This part needs a little bit more love as well, just because the timing changes. So let's see.
It feels like Christmas, these memories we make. And
so as you can see, like cutting down for the promo, it's going to be pretty similar to the live, but it's not quite as easy as just taking, 2 minutes out of something.
Christmas, these memories we
Yeah, you got a little tweaking, a little magic, but that's what
and all the world
makes your content stand out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we have to do this a lot when like we do make just a YouTube video, but then I want to promote it on my Instagram as well. So then I'll have Zach make like even just like a 30-second cut. And then sometimes I'll keep it horizontal and like put it in a cool little effect on Instagram, or be like, hey, can you make this actually vertical for Instagram? But now that we have auto reframe in Rush, like I can just literally take a whole like 30-second horizontal clip and just like that and have it like ready for Instagram.
That's awesome.
All right, I think we're almost done with this. Let's just listen to the last little section and then we'll be done.
It's on display to see. Feels like Christmas. Oh,
Can't really change the rail, so we'll just zoom that there.
oh yeah, it feels like Christmas to me.
Wow.
Oh, I
That
love
shot gets me every time.
Every time.
Every time. Every time.
All right. Well, that's
Wow,
that's
we
all
did
I've
it.
got.
It's
We've got
Christmas now. Yay.
It's
we've got a
officially
video and a
Christmas.
promo. So
Man,
hope you
great
enjoyed our
job.
house. Thank you.
Both you two, I just want to shout you guys out for nerves of steel. I get so nervous when I'm actually driving and people are watching me clip things. Like I know where everything is.
No, I hear you. I hear you for
I'm like,
sure.
you just, I mean, you just made it seem super accessible, super easy. You don't seem nervous at all, both of you.
Well, great.
I've done it a
and
few
you-
times by now.
crushing it. You're crushing it. Really awesome. Thank you guys so much. I feel like I learned so much.
Same.
Yay, I'm excited to see all your Rush videos. Just get them
Totally.
up.
I'm
Get
ready.
your
Yes.
look. Get 'em
I'm
up.
Tag us in them too, so that we
I'm
can
ready
see
to get
them.
on TikTok. I don't care. I turned 40. I don't care. I'm
Let's
ready.
go.
I'm ready.
That's awesome.
I need something to do. And yeah, I think now I'm excited. I've been, like I said, I live in After Effects a lot and I haven't edited in a long time, but I'm feeling really inspired.
Yay.
Amazing.
Thank
That's
you
the goal.
so much.
Awesome.
You guys,
Thank you.
yeah, if you want to go back and rewatch both days of content, there was so many gems, so many good lessons learned on how to make really beautiful content across a lot of different social spaces, not just Instagram or YouTube, but all of it to make one cohesive story. Really want to shout out everyone in the pod too that has joined us over the last few days. Felix, Teresa, Val, you always moderate, keeping it real. And then one last thing that I didn't say at all today, and I should have, is that the Adobe Creative Residency Community Fund is kicking. There's a lot of money there, about $1 million in funds for
Wow.
creatives who have been negatively impacted by COVID. And you can apply to basically get a grant for a 2 to 4 week project. And so please go to adobe.com creative residency and apply. And I want to see some really good content coming out of that. Yeah, you guys have any last parting creative wishes for the holiday season?
I think
think-
we're all good. So
Yeah.
see you guys on the
Cool.
gram, on the tube. Have a
We'll
good
probably see you
rest of
back
your
here
day.
another time too.
Happy holidays, y'all.
Yes, happy
Bye.
holidays. Bye-bye.